the Python syntax for showing me something. I want to see something. So what do I want to see? I want to see series. So if I run this now, it's going to show me the series, and then the data type tells me is int integers. So it's telling me that the data type is integer. So basically, most of the time, the type of data that you're going to be working with in pandas is going to be this one: data frame, two-dimensional label data structure, like what you have in an Excel sheet. So for us to create that type of data, this is how we go about it. We are going to say, let me put a comment that describes what I want to do. I want to say creating a data frame. So remember what I call a data frame is like what you have in an Excel sheet. So like when you open Excel sheet, those kind of data that you see, you know, that's like that's what we call data frame here. So if I say I want to declare a variable called please somebody should give me a name, any name that we want to call our variable, please. Anybody? Yeah, any name for the variable, please. What name should we call it? Okay. Okay, because the kind of data that I want to use is like names of people. I have names of people, I have their age, I have their city. So I want to create a data frame that contains the name, age, and city of some people. So how can we what name do you think we can give to that? Persons, okay. Persons. Let's say persons is equal to um curly braces, and then the first um the first column in my data frame that I'm creating, the name of the data frame, we have called it persons. So the first column, I want the first column to be name. When we were discussing data types in the first session, we talked about dictionaries, and this is one of them. So if I declare a column name with the name, because it is in textual format, I have to put it in this double quote because it is a text. It is and the text type of data we already talked about it is called string. So because it is a string, I'm going to put it in double quotes. And okay, there's one thing I want you to see here. When I declared the variable called series, I now said PD because PD is what I want to be using. And then I now said dot series of my data. I used this is what you call method, and it is a method of pandas. So I am creating what series. So if you go online and search for pandas documentation, if you go online and search for pandas documentation, you will see all these things, how to use it to create series. So it's not as if somebody just manufactured this thing in their head that, oh, this is how I want to be doing it. You will notice that I started it with capital letter S. If I do small letter s, I'm going to get an error because small letter s for a series is not a method in the pandas in the way pandas has been built. So it understands capital letter S, and then that's why it's able to create the series for me. So I wanted you to note that. So for me now, I want to continue with um my data frame that I'm creating. So I want the first name. I want you to notice the type of brackets that I'm using. So when you want to create your own, you need to understand patterns and be able to understand that, oh, this is can you hear me? Hello. Okay. So I want to call the first name. I want to call it Ganiat. That's the first name. And then the second name I want to call it Promise. I'm not seeing the other names. Who else is on the call? Uh, Adebi. So I want to create. So in your head, you should. I already gave you some hints on the kind of data frame that I want to create. I want to create a data frame that has three columns that has name, age, and then city. So I've included three people here. That's okay for now. Then I say comma. That is for the first column. I have successfully used all the I've successfully input the kind of data that I want for the first column. So I want to go to age now. Age, and then I put column, and then this. Now, in this case, because age, what type of data is age? Is it going to be the same type? You know, this type is string, string. String format of data is the string format data is the textual form of data. So anytime you hear string, we are talking about text, data in the form of text. So data in the form of what are we putting in age? Int. So it's a type, it's a number, numerical form of data, int, integer. Yeah, that's correct. So for me to do that, um, I don't need to put the quotes. I just need to put my number straight up. Do you understand what I'm doing? Can you see what I'm doing? Like compared to this one, when I declared name, I put Ganiat in double quotes. I put promise in double quotes. I put Adebi in double quotes. But when it's time for me to talk about the age column, see these things as columns. This is a column. Name is a column, and it contains these items. Age is another column, and it contains these items. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I want to declare another column in the data frame, and I want to call it city. So if I say city, I have to put column again, and then what do I want to put in that column? I maybe let me say Lagos. So for me now, I want to say the first city is Lagos. That city belongs to who? That city belongs to who? Ganiat, because that's the first city that I'm declaring. So if I want to declare the city, because now I want to call it Lagos, right? So because of the format of that Lagos, because of the format of Lagos, it means that um what's going on? I think I might have to oh in case the call goes off, we'll start again. We'll continue. I'll share another link, okay? In case it goes off. But let's continue with this. So I want to put the first city, and the name of the first city is Lagos. So I'm putting double quote again. Yeah, I think you understand why I have to put double quote. Do you understand why I have to put double quote? Because it is text format of data. So I say comma. I want to put a second city. I call it London. So that city is for promise, right? So I want to go to the third one, and I say let me call the city Nairobi. Nairobi. Yeah. So I'm done declaring column one, column two, column three. So once I'm done with this declaration, I will now do my conversion to what? Data frame. So if I want to convert it to data frame, I need to save that in another variable. In Python, you can decide to call the variable another this. I want to declare another variable to store the data frame itself. I can decide to say I want to use persons, but it is not advisable because I might be coding in a way that I still want to use this variable somewhere else. So it is not a good thing to actually do. So it's better for me to have another name. So for me to have another name, I'm going to call it df, simply something like data frame. Df, I can call it whatever. I can call it df dfm. I can call it whatever I want. So I want to call it df. So now I want to use pandas. So is equal to what? Who is going to tell me what is going to be equal to? Anybody? I want to use pandas. I've already given you the hints. I want to use pandas. Anytime you want to use pandas, you say pd dot. Yes, pd dot. What do you want to use in pandas? When we're doing series, because we wanted to use series, it's straightforward. When you check the pandas documentation, it explains all these things to you. Why I'm using capital SERIS for when I need series. So now what I need is not series. What I need is what data frame. So the method, they call it method. All this is a method. So now the method to use is what? Capital letter D, A, data, then FRAME. Then I'm going to put brackets. So in bracket now, what am I going to put in the bracket? Do we agree that it is persons? This thing is just like when you want to make meat pie. The way I'm trying to imagine it in my head, like you put something inside something to get something out. It's just like it's just like you wrapping something in something. You need to be able to imagine it in your head. Now, if you compare it to this one that we did, we first of all made this declaration and we called it data. But when we want to make the series and put it in the pandas method of series, we open the bracket and we put data inside. So this thing is supposed to act on the data that we have declared and then create a series. But in this case, what we are doing is what? Data frame. So what that means is that we want this pandas dot data frame to act on what we have created. Do you now understand why it has to be persons? Do you understand why it has to be persons? So if I run this now, it's not going to display anything. Why? Because I have actually not told it to display anything. You understand? So I have not told it to display anything until I say print. I can print or I just type df. But let me say print. Print what? What do I want to print? This df that I have created. Do you understand? If I say I want to print this df that I have created, let's see what we are going to see. So can you see that? Can you see that now? So with this now, we have been able to create our first data frame. So you can go on and on to create whatever you want to create, no matter no matter how large you want it to be. But in the real sense, as a data analyst or data whatever, most of the time you are not really creating data frame from Python or pandas. You are not really doing that. But for the purpose of instruction, yes, you will learn how to create it in case you need to. What you are going to be doing most of the time is this. So what you are going to be doing most of the time, let me change this to markdown. You are going to be reading data from CSV files. That's what you are going to be doing most of the time. You can see this is beautifully done. You can create more columns if you want, create more data rows. And um, if I want to read from a CSV file. What is a CSV file? A CSV file is a comma separated values file. So for instance, let me come here. Look at this file. Can you see Microsoft Excel comma separated values file? So this is a CSV file that I have here. If I want to open this data, I want to open it. That's what you are going to be doing most of the time. You are going to be reading data from an existing file for the purpose of analysis. So I want to open that. I've already imported pandas up there. If I did not import pandas, I'll get an error, but I've already imported it. So I want to declare a data frame again. I want to call it df, and I will say it is equal to pd. Anytime I need to use pandas, I'll say pd dot what? What do I want to do? That's the next thing. What do you want to do with pandas? What do I want to do? There is a method called read underscore csv. That's the method. Remember, how many methods have we used in pandas? And we have used one method called this data frame. Take note of capital letter D, capital letter F. If you use small letter, it will not work. So we have also used another method called series. Remember, it's starting with capital letter. But in this case, this our method that we are using, read CSV. We are not starting with capital letter, as you can see. So also remember, after the method, you must put a bracket, yes, the brackets, and inside that bracket, what do you want to read is what you are going to put there. What do I want to read? The name of what you want to read in double quotes. I put double quotes, but what is the name of what I want to read? Let me come here and see what I want to read. The name is what? Ford Go Bike hyphen trip data. So I need to write that in here. Ford Go Bike hyphen trip data. Is that how it is? Let me confirm again. Yeah, that's how it is. Now, dot CSV. It must always have dot CSV. If you are reading if you are using this method, whatever you put inside here, you must put dot CSV there. Now, another thing is that the location of your Jupyter Notebook file, the location of this my file, this second session 0 to data, the location of this file, let's see the location. It must be located in the same place. It must be located in the same place with the data that you are trying to read. So you can see that my Jupyter Notebook file, second session 0 to data. Can you see it on this page? Can you see Jupyter source file that is 4 kilobytes? Can you see it? So the location of this Jupyter Notebook file must be the same with the data that you are trying to read. Do you understand that? So because I have fulfilled all that, I can read it. I can run this. After running this, I want to, like, if I want to see the first 5 rows or something of the data that I've loaded, even if I don't do that, if I just type df and I run df, because I've already declared a variable called df and I've put df inside here, there's something that I want you to notice. This is df. This is one df, right? This df, when I printed it, I got this. Do you know that if I print df again, I will not get this again? Do you know why? Yes, because there's this thing about overriding um, previous declarations in Python. So I declared df initially here. I have declared df again in another way here. So if I call df anytime, it's not going to show me this again. It will show me the most recent declaration that I have for df. So this is one of the reasons why, if not for the fact that this is for training purpose, I'm not supposed to be declaring a variable here, declare the same variable here. It's going to cause confusion. But I just want you to see that, um, So if I say df, it's supposed to show me everything or as far as it can go. Now this is the data as we have in the data frame Ford Go by trip data. So as you can see from this now, it is giving us some information about the data. Imagine, look at the number of rows. Look at the number of rows, 183,000 rows of data and 16 columns. So imagine having to handle this in Excel. So this is not even as much as some of the kind of data that you'll be handling. So this data frame contains trips, duration, start time, end time. So this is like a data from a bike sharing platform. So there are platforms where you can get this kind of data to work with. So one of such platforms is Kaggle. Has anyone heard about Cargo? So, okay, what's the question? This one. Thank there are different ways in which if I did the same thing, it's going to show me, but in a slightly different way. Can you see what it's showing me? It's showing me the data, but because of the size of it, the size of this data, this is quite large. When I did print, because you have just few rows and just three columns and three rows, it's easier for you to see and understand. So if I print, yes, it will show me the data, but it is not showing me in a very structured way. I can also do this. Um, I can do if I just want to see the first few lines because it's a lot of rows. 183,000. It's a lot. Like 16 columns as well. So if I want to see Um, someone wants to join. This person is coming very late. Well, so if I want to see just the first few lines or the first few rows, I can say that df. No, what's the name of the data frame? Thank you very much. So the name of this data frame that we are working with is df. We have declared it here, df. So because the name is df, anytime you want to do anything to that data frame, you must call that df first. So that's why I said df. So what do I want to do? I want to inspect it. I want to see the number of rows and the number of columns. So the method to use is what? Dot shape. Again, you don't need to cram all these things. If you type on Google, for instance, that how can I check the number of rows and columns in a data frame, you will definitely see this thing coming up. So, like I said, it's not about you cramming code or whatever. It's about you seeing how it is used and what it can be used for. So you can now look for how to find it. And I also mentioned how you can find these things. You can find it on just simple internet search. I mentioned Stack Overflow as one of those platforms. You can use AI to also find it. So now you can see the size, the shape of this data frame. 183,412 rows and 16 columns. You can see it. Hello? 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 Can you hear me? Hello? Oh, okay. Thank you. So you can see it. The number um of of rows. Sometimes some people mix it up. The number of rows are these things that are up: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's up to 16 when you count it. That's why you have this 16 here. And the number of what of the rows is when you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from the top to the bottom, it's going to give you 103,412. So it's not something that you can easily count with your eyes. So you need code to do that. So that is why those are some of the things that we do with coding in data. So now I want to list um I need a list of column names. Do you understand what that means? I've explained what the columns are. I want to see the list, a list of the names of the columns that are in this data frame. So I'm going to do df dot columns. If I do df dot columns, it's already showing me those names. It's already showing me those names. Suleiman, can you see the screen now? Hello, Suleiman. Okay, now it is showing me the names of each each column because I've loaded a data set um that contains information about bike sharing and all that, start time, bike ID, user type. So this is like a business that is running bike sharing platform. So I can also do summary. I can do summary, like a summary statistic. I can say that I want to see summary of the data frame. Summary of the data frame. I can do df dot info. I like this one a lot because it shows you a lot of things. So if I do df dot info, Ganiat, you know you were talking about printing and not printing. If I can decide to put print yes, I can decide to put print. I can decide to put print, and then it's still showing me. Can you see? Still showing me the same thing. I can decide to put print here also. I can decide to put print here also, but make sure you are using it correctly. So if I'm using print, it means that the whole of this thing must be inside that, like this one. So this is what I mean. If I say print, and I put the bracket, it must be like this. Can you see it? Like the whole of this thing that I was about to write initially must be inside that bracket of print. So if I run this one, it's going to give me some info. Now it has given me a lot of things that I can work with about that data. It's telling me this column that has duration. It has no 8183412 no. Now this particular thing can help you a lot to have a general overview of what the data frame is like. Do you know that we have one over 183,000 rows? There are some data that will be missing. This is something that we're going to be talking about in our next session. We'll be talking about how to handle missing data, how to handle, data that are not in the right format. Now, look at this now, data type. I told you about data type. Remember when we're creating the data frame, we talked about, the names are in string format. We talked about the numbers are in, um, sorry, give me 2 seconds. So you can see the data types of each column. For instance, you can see time, duration in seconds. You can see the data type. So here now, before you begin to do your analysis, you can see if there is any data type that is in the wrong format. For instance, they say this is member gender. They say it is object. So for instance, if your own member gender is showing the type float, float is decimal format. If it is showing, member gender is supposed to be male or female. So if the type is like float, then you know that there's something wrong with it. So this gives you a general overview of all the columns and the types of data that you have in there. So in our next session, we'll be talking about how to use this information. You can also get a statistical summary of every column that contains numbers. There are some columns that will contain text, also some columns that will contain other forms of data. So every column that contains numbers, you can have a statistical summary of it. I like to do this one too also all the time because it will guide you on some decisions that you can make. So statistical summary of every column. If I want to do this, I would say df dot describe. I want it to describe, and then I put this at the end. Oh, the spelling is wrong. So df dot describe. If I run this, this is what I get. I get statistical summary of every column. For instance, duration in seconds. That's the first column. The first column, the count, the number of items in that column. So also you can see here, you can easily see missing values. You can see that some of the columns have more items than the others. Like this one that has 175, 147. That means it contains a lot of missing values. Member bet here contains a lot of missing values. This one too contains a lot of missing values. Most of the ones that are correct are in the region of 180. So how do you handle those missing values? Some of the things we'll be discussing in the next session. But look at this now. This will tell you a lot of things. The minimum value in that particular column is 61. The maximum value, it tells you the standard deviation, tells you the mean of the numbers in that column. This tells you this is like what's it called? Um what do they call this in statistics? This percentage something, it's percentile. So maximum values, and then you can perform um a lot of um, a lot of operations on the data set, that the data frame that you have created. So, for instance, if I say, let me go back, I want to do this one because this one is too large. I'm not going to be using this as our um, DF. I want to use this data frame, this small one that we have created. I want to come here and do it again so that anytime I call DF again. So if I run this again, what's going to happen if I run this? If I run this df, can anybody tell me what will happen? What's going to happen? I just ran this one now. I just ran this creating data frame that contains the data that we created initially. So if I call df again, what will happen? So df, what will I see in the data frame this time? Can you see that? So now I can perform some operations. I can do what? I can, maybe I just want to see a particular column, for instance. I can say df and then I put the name. I put the name of the column. What column should we see? Let's say I want to see name. I want to see name. Can you see what I'm getting? It's showing me just the names. So I can perform so many other operations. If I want to see out of 3 columns, I want to see just 2. I can do the same thing, similar to this. Let me just copy it. And if I paste it here, I can say I want to see only the names and the age. I don't want to see the city. Something is missing. So what is missing in this case is that okay, let me wait for it to finish running because it's still running. Yes, something is missing, and it has already told us Now this is an error. It says key error. Something is missing. What is missing is that because I am calling two of them, when I needed just one of them, I put one of these. Because I'm calling two of them, I'll need to include another one this way to wrap around it. So let's see what we get this time. So it gives us the two columns, name and age. Can you see the difference? When I needed just name, this is what I did. But when I need name and age, this is what I did. But we have just three columns. So if I need three columns, I don't need to do all this. I can just do df and it is going to give that to me. For instance, if I say there are some things a whole lot of things that you can do to manipulate this data set. If I say I want to check for people who are older than 30, I want to see people who are older than 30. You can see they have different ages, Abby. Some people have 20, some people have 30, some people have 35. If I want to see people who are over 30, I can call that I can call that a name. Let me call it over 30 as the name of the variable, and I say it is now equal to my df and then df. So I'm going to call what? I'm going to call age and say age greater than 30. So if I declare this, can you guys hear me? Yeah, I'm trying as much as I can to wrap up in like 30 minutes because I didn't plan to stay this long also. So if I run this declaration is like I'm going back to this my data frame to declare a variable called over 30 that inside this data frame I want to store those items that contain people those people that contain that have age that is more than 30. So I want to go to this age column and look at age that is greater than 30 and then store it inside over 30. So if I run this, I'm not going to see anything because I have not printed anything. So if I want to see something, I'll say print over 30. So if I run this now, I'm supposed to see something. So it tells me, oh, Adebi 35, Nairobi City. So that tells you that there is a whole lot that you can do in data manipulation and inspection. So if I the same way, if I want over less than 30, for instance, I can just change this to less than 30. And we also know we understand why promise is not showing because promise is equal to 30. It is not greater than 30. So that's why promise is not there. So if I want to perform an operation such as adding new columns, I want to add new column. After this, the task that I'm going to give you would be that you should create a data frame anyhow and then perform some of these operations that we have done and then perform new operations. So when you perform new operations, you can use your Google Colab. Then when you perform new operations, you can um download your file or you just screenshot some of the operations that you have done. Like maybe you use the sniping tool. You can snipe this and then share it on the group page. Let's see what you're able to do. So I'm not sure. Does any is there anybody that doesn't understand what I mean by what I just said now? Do you understand what I mean? So you can perform new operations that we have not done yet. There are a lot of things that you can do. So you can create a data set. Let's create a data frame of like maybe on your own, just create maybe between 5 to 10 rows of data and then perform some of these things and then look for new operations that you can perform because I've not given you everything. So if I say df the same data frame that we are working with that contains age and location or city. So if I say age in 5 years, so I want to create a new data, a new column. Huh? How many columns do we have initially in the data frame? We have three: name, age, and city. So if I want to create a new column, I want to call it age in 5 years. So that should mean that this column that I'm about to create should have what? Their current age plus 5, isn't it? So if I now want to declare that, I can say that df, the way I currently have it as age, um, and then I can add 5 to it. So this particular thing that I'm doing, imagine if I have 1000 rows of, like the initial one, like that's data that has 180 something rows of data. Imagine that is the number of rows of data that we have of different names of people with their age. And then I'm thinking that I want to create another column that contains their age in 5 years. So what would their age be in 5 years? If I do this, just this simple line of code is going to add 5 years to all their ages and create another column to save that. Do you understand what I mean? Hello. So if I run this now, it's supposed to do that. So if I call my df again, I have their age in 5 years also there. So look at how fast you're able to do this, and a lot of possibilities, a whole lot of possibilities that we have not explored, a whole lot. So with this now, you can see that so many things are possible, and I'm going to stop here for today. So if you have any question, let's see. There are so many things that you can do. You can decide to, like, oh, this column I want to drop it. I'm not showing you that. You can look for how to do that, and then maybe that's one of the things that you're going to show me that you're able to do. This column city, I don't need it anymore. I want to drop it. How can I do that? You can say, okay, I want to rearrange the way they are. I want to sort it. Okay, it's actually sorted. It's sorted by age, right? Okay, I can decide to say, oh, I want to sort it in descending order. So I want the first name that will be um on the data frame to be the name of the person that is oldest, the oldest person. A whole lot of things that you can do. A whole lot. So it's just about knowing what is possible, first of all, and then secondly, knowing how to find the things that you need to do. So the code to use, how do you find it? I have explained over and over again. There are so many places where you can get code. If you Google, if you go to GitHub, there's a platform called GitHub, GitHub. You can look for different code that people have written and then look for how you can use it in your own use case. So in the next session, what we are going to be doing basically, we are going to go through a a whole data exploration process, and from the beginning to the end, like load a data set. We are going to also do inspection of the data programmatically, visually. We are going to look at how some of the things that we can do to clean data, because you don't just begin to analyze data. You need to prepare the data for analysis purpose. So how do you get to that point of, oh, my data is ready for analysis? It's not just when you load the data that you begin to analyze. You do a lot of data cleaning. For instance, when we inspected that large data set, we could see that there are some missing values, missing items, because it's not they don't have the same number of items. For a data set that is not having missing values, each row is supposed to have the same number of items. So by the time you start seeing that some of them are different, it shows that some values are missing. So how do you handle them when you have data type that is not the type that you want? How do you handle them? So those are some of the things that we'll be discussing in our next session. So um, the floor is open for questions. If you have questions, let's quickly run through your questions, please. Any question? Nobody is asking questions. So it's safe to say that if you have any question, you can always send a message on the group chat. And for people, oh, do you have a question, Ganiat? For people that joined in the middle of the session, there are some important things as I mentioned. And again, I'm saying that even if you have not installed Jupyter Notebook, please just go to collab and go this is the website collab.research.google.com. If you go here, you can run your Python script without having Jupyter Notebook installed. You are running it in the cloud virtually. You can download it. It's automatically saved in your Google Drive because this is a Google product. So it is linked to your Google account and it is saved in your Google Drive. So this is something that can actually help you. So all the code that I ran in this place, I'm going to share this notebook, and then you can replicate this. You can run this again in your Google Colab. So I'll share this with you. I think I can also share the data sets if you want, especially um, but I might not really need to share this with you. This one. I might not really need to share this. If you want to load, if you want to find data sets that you can load, you can go to cargo.com. You can go to cargo. I'm trying to type it. Yeah, cargo.com to find data sets that you can work with, explore, and let's learn together. If there's anything that you find that you think is not very clear, you can always send me a message. So thank you very much for tonight. See you next session and enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you.